You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for a successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this week's episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by two very special people. Rebecca VanZutphen, a practice manager who works with Dr. Heath Fraser, a dentist up in a practice in Queensland, and they have developed a brand new product that they're going to be telling us about today. Welcome. First of all, Beck, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having us, Julie.
Pleasure, and welcome to you, Heath.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
So tell us a little bit, just a very brief little history about your practice up in Queensland, Heath, and how long you and Rebecca have been working together.
So the practice in Queensland, so it's part of our Avenue Dental group. So I started it from scratch 10 years ago, and I was very lucky to have Becky there opening boxes with me on the day. So she's been with me right from the beginning. So we've grown from, it was just me there with a hygienist a day a week, I think it was. Bex, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now we're 5 dentists. We've got a visiting surgeon. We've got an oral health therapist. We've got 2 hygienists. We've got a 7-chair practice. So we're very, very lucky that we've exhausted. We're very fortunate to have had a great team. I think we did really well with our location as well. We've just experienced such big growth, and we still are growing. So it's been a great journey. It's had its ups and downs, but it's been great. And yeah, Bex has been there through the whole time.
And how did you get to be working with Heath? Becky, I love Becky. I was going to call you Becky.
Well, as Heath mentioned, Avenue Dental is a group. I think they're up to 6 practices locations now. And so I actually worked at the founding practice in Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast. And so I worked there for 10 years. And then when Heath was opening up the practice down the road, we were introduced to each other, and I was only meant to actually be working with him for about 3 months, and I was moving away from the area, but here we are 10 years on and I'm still there. So
still trying to get away.
Yeah.
It must be a very lovely working relationship because you started this wonderful project together. Can you tell us about what you've been working on?
Absolutely. So obviously having worked together for quite a considerable amount of time, and we are uber passionate about dentistry and the dental industry and our patients. We unfortunately saw a lot of barriers that patients were met with, and I'm sure all of your listeners can attest to that. And so we decided we would build a platform to enable people to gain more control over their dental health. And transparency is probably the big underlying foundation of AirSmile and the platform itself. So it is a digital marketplace where patients can go to find a practice that they are most aligned with. And the things that we have built into the platform allow people to really target a practice that has the things that they want and need. And without them having to go to multiple consultations or, spending a lot of time and money, maybe not finding the right practice for them. And then obviously from a business perspective, like a dental practice, we want to support our businesses, our small dental practices. And so it's a really great way for businesses to be able to attract a patient that is suited to them, because not every patient is for every practice. We throw around the word ideal patient. So AirSmile is a really great platform for you to be able to target a particular type of patient or a service that a patient's looking for and bring them into your practice.
Fantastic. So the product itself is called AirSmile, and you can jump onto that, listeners, at airsmile.com. And Beck, just to stay with you for a quick moment, when you said that it really helps to identify what patients want and need, what are you finding the answer to that question is?
So it's funny because when we first started it, obviously we were concerned about building a platform that appears to revolve around price. And, in our world, we think that that's all patients care about. And so it was really interesting when we did our market research and as we've launched AirSmile, that it's actually not that. So when we built the platform, and every sort of function and workflow was designed to try and push people to look beyond the price. And it really didn't take that much convincing, we found. Like I said, our market research and the user experience so far is they are actually looking beyond that. It's important that they understand that, and they want to know the benchmark of that practice and where it sits in amongst all the other competitors around them. But then they're going beyond that, and they're looking at the reputation, like Google reviews, or the review or the rating of that practice is probably even more important than the price itself. People are willing to pay a little bit more if they know that that's a trustworthy and, reliable practice, and other people have said so. So we've actually integrated Google reviews on the platform, as well as AirSmile reviews, for that very reason, because we see the importance of that.
I agree, Becky. The Google reviews are such a compelling factor for people searching around, looking for a service that they want. Heath, what have you found with the market research and the importance of those Google reviews in terms of identifying the other stuff that's important to patients?
Yeah, so Google reviews, as Beck said, that's probably number one. The other really interesting factor is that I think we underestimate how lazy people are in the digital space as well. So what we're finding is people are basically just clicking what is in front of them. So on AirSmile, we don't try to, we don't have premium listings or anything. So, but yeah, what we're finding is that it's that convenience that's really driving it. So people don't filter searches. They don't go through and go, I want the cheapest first, when we filter our results. They're purely just looking on that first screen and they go, okay, there's 5 results here, and they just choose what's best for them, which is usually top 3. They'll look at ratings. I think price is a factor in there, but they're not going after the cheapest. So it seems like there is an element of price, but it's mainly reputation and just what is presented in front of them. So what I love about that is that people aren't super price conscious, because we, building this platform, we're worried, everyone's just going to, it's going to be this race to the bottom. But absolutely it's not, it's that same experience of whether you're going on to Airbnb, or you're going to book a hotel or book a restaurant. There's so many different factors that are involved. And it's just more about that convenience factor for that person.
Yeah, and I was thrilled because the first time I jumped onto the airsmile.com site, I had that initial first response as well. Like, is this going to be just a whole bunch of practices who are low fee based? But it absolutely isn't that. This is a lovely platform for patients to jump onto to do further research, which is part of what we need to do as buyers, as consumers, before we make a purchase, to make sure we're going down the path that suits us best. So just describe what the process is like for a potential patient. What do they do? How do they use AirSmile? And then we'll talk about how the dental practices can use it.
So they land on the website. We're doing a whole lot of marketing campaigns, a lot of SEO work. So make sure that we're ranking for certain things. So the patient will, however they get there, they'll land on the website. They can download a mobile app, or they can use our web-based platform, which is the one that we tend to be pushing now, because we are seeing how convenience and ease, or limited number of clicks is super important. So they can just click through to the platform. They can sign in as a guest, or they can create an account. As soon as they get into that, then they'll see a list of services. So we've put in, broken tooth, like your emergency style of things. We've got big ticket items as well, aligners, veneers, whitening, things that people will be maybe specifically going after. They'll be able to click that service, and then at that point, it will automatically know where they're searching from, so their location from their device, and it will show a list of practices from there. And then they can filter results as they need to or as they require, and then they can book from that point, depending on availability that's been set up through the practice. So it's fairly easy. We've really tried to mimic that same experience that you would get with a lot of other online booking platforms. It's just really dental specific. And so all the powerful tools in the back end are for the dentist, which is, getting records through, which is a really important one for the dentist. All that can kind of happen fairly seamlessly without really inhibiting that patient experience through the whole process. Did I miss anything there, Beck?
No, it probably just then. So that is one option for people to come and utilize the platform. But the other very unique experience that people can have, which we haven't been able to find anywhere else that's currently happening, is that you can actually compare an existing quote. So this is where our experience in dental comes into it. So we're like, okay, as a patient, as a practice, I would want to find out, maybe compare my plan. So I've been to the dentist recently, or maybe I've moved to a new area, and I've been given a plan from a dentist. You can actually scan or upload that plan into AirSmile, and we've created the system that it can read the data off the plan, so the patient doesn't need to understand item codes and tooth numbers and that sort of thing. The system will register all that information off the treatment plan, and they hit compare now, and they will get a list of our dentist members who also offer those same services presented to them, and then they can move through the directory and make a decision on who's the best one for them. But what's really great, again, with our experience is what's really important to us is continuity of care. And so even though the patient does get a quote, they don't get a breakdown of the dentist's fees. They get a total quote for that treatment plan at that practice. And then the first appointment is for an initial consultation, because this is always something the dentists are concerned about when we talk about AirSmile. Like, well, I don't want to follow somebody else's treatment plan. It's like, no, it's not about that. It's about bringing you a patient who is motivated to get some treatment done. They know they need this treatment done and they're ready. They're just trying to find the most suitable practice for them. And this is a really great way for them to do that. And now you've given them a benchmark about where your practice sits in terms of the fees, and they can use that as a guide when they come into your practice.
And so coming at it from the dentist end, what do they do? How do they participate in a way that AirSmile is going to be of real value to them?
So another great thing about AirSmile is practices can continue to have control over their fees, over their branding, over the patients that they decide to attract into their business. So we've created the profile where you can display anything and everything that you would like. So I know there's other sort of options out there for practices to take part in that dictate what you can do and what you charge. AirSmile is not like that. It gives businesses an opportunity to remain their own, and you present that to the patient. So if they choose you, it's because you're the right fit for them and they're the right fit for you, which is really cool. And so we built the dentist portal. So there's a secure network that dentists use. They have their own access to their own portal where they control everything that's displayed on AirSmile. So they have full access to, take control of that.
So a dental practice could jump on board and they're uploading their fee schedule so that overall cost for the treatment plan can be submitted to that patient, but you can also add all the other information to your portal, to your profile, so the patient's getting the full picture of what kind of experience they might end up having at your particular practice. So you can go into things like the type of technology that you've got or the level of customer service that you provide.
Yes, absolutely. So that's all there. And as we mentioned, patients can filter that search. So if they're actually looking for a female dentist at a Bupa preferred practice, that has Zip as their payment plan, if they really want to target their search that specifically, they can.
And the other great thing too is so patients have the ability to put their health insurance card in. So they'll go in, hey, I'm with Bupa or I'm with AHM or whoever. And so if the patient chooses and they want to go to a preferred provider practice, the fees will change dependent on what the practice charges for that particular health fund. So it's a tailored quote or tailored idea as to what they're going to be charged. So that's quite unique as well.
Oh, fantastic. So if I was a Bupa member, for example, and I got a quote from a Bupa preferred provider, then my quote's going to reflect that coverage.
That's right. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's very, very unique. We're in talks at the moment with a couple of different people where we can fully integrate live health fund quoting as well within the platform, which is going to be I'm super excited about that because that's just something that does not exist within, definitely not within Australia at the moment. That's for sure.
The buying behaviour of consumers, it's quite a process. It's a journey. And I often talk about there's a book by a man named Norbert Aubuchon, and I read this book many years ago when I was a patient coordinator, and it made perfect sense to me. We go through a certain journey as a consumer. We first of all need to identify that there's a need, and then identify that that need is strong enough that we want to take action on it. Then we go into search, and we need to gather all the information that we need in order to evaluate which solution is going to serve us best. And you're right. I think we get this thought that it's going to always be about money for everybody, but it's not. That's just one piece of data amongst a whole series of pieces of data that helps them direct of where they're going to end up going. And confusion is often for dental patients one of the reasons why they don't move forward with a treatment plan, because they are confused. This is a tool that they can use that helps them stay within search so they can actually evaluate where they're going to go to get this treatment done.
What we're seeing as well, which is what I love, is, we're not monetized in this way, but someone can go to their local dentist and they need $10,000 worth of work done. They can go and, here's my treatment plan in a PDF. They put it through, they match it through onto AirSmile, and they go, hang on, this guy costs a little bit more, it costs a little bit less, but it gives them peace of mind, because I can see this tool is going to, I feel, facilitate a whole lot more treatment getting done out there. Because as you know, Julie, there is so much treatment that gets just not done, gets left. That's why there's so many dental emergencies that happen, is because people get, they get that sticker shock, or they don't know what's going on in their mouth. So there's that trust element that is really missing. So I'm really excited that people can just have that as a free tool, just to make sure that they're like, hey, cool, I really like this dentist. He charges a little bit more, but you know what? I trust him. This is great. I'm going to go ahead and get it done.
Fantastic. And I think, for us all to go, put ourselves in the headspace of when we're buying a car or a Dyson vacuum cleaner, or you're going to go searching for an Airbnb. We're not looking for the cheapest thing. We're looking for the thing that's going to match all of our requirements, all of our needs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what, so there's two terms. So there's consumerism and then there's commoditization. So a lot of people, they get confused, there's this, retail health gets thrown around as well. It's when people think it's all about price, but it's not. It's just where all of a sudden people are making a purchase, which they always have, but it's just a mindset, us in the industry, we need to get our heads around. We need to adapt to this, because we're going to fall behind. Some big player's going to come in and maybe do something horrible here and, really bring the industry down. So I'm excited that we can hopefully get this platform up to a point where it provides that service for our whole community.
Fantastic. Yep. I can understand where, from a dental perspective, we think it's all about price, because as many years I've been on the reception, and Beck, you would know this too, many people do call up and say, how much is your crown? How much do you charge for a checkup or a clean? But it's important to identify that dentistry is very confusing for everyone who doesn't work in a dental practice.
Yeah.
And we ask intelligent questions when we intelligently know the subject. But many patients don't know all the details. They don't know the questions to ask. They don't understand the differences between crowns and different materials and cleanings and all the rest of it. So the only information they go to is price, because it's the one thing they do understand.
That's right.
So I can understand why we do get this perception that patients continually to ask about price, and so therefore it must always be about price. No, until we educate them a little bit further, price is going to be it.
That's right, yes. And that's it, exactly that. And this is, I think, for us, we mentioned earlier, dentists coming on, they're being very accepting of this. I think they're ready for a platform like ours to come into the market, and they're excited, especially, that we've got them, we're supporting them. It's actually patients that we're finding that are a little bit more difficult to get on board with this, because they are confused. They've never seen anything like this before. And even though they are using it in different aspects of their, purchasing something else, in dental, it has not been around yet. So that's a real challenge for us at the moment, is trying to re-educate them and, yes, look beyond the price, and you can search around. There are different options, and it's quite difficult, but fun at the same. But one point I did want to make about the price thing, because I am fortunate to be doing a lot of the onboarding and demonstrations with practices. So I'm face to face with them every day at the moment, which is great. And one of the most common questions or concerns, I would say, that I get is we're really high priced in our area. And it's funny because I urge them to go onto the platform and actually go through the process as if you're a patient. I say, print out a basic treatment plan, a couple of fillings and a crown or whatever, scan it in just like you would as a patient and compare it against our other members. Like, we're in Brisbane at the moment. We've got about 20, 25 practices on board. You can actually scan and compare yourself. And what we're finding is it all balances out. Yes, you might charge a little bit more for a crown, but perhaps you have a special with your checks and cleans, or your whitening is a little bit, and it all does seem to level out. And maybe there's a couple of $100 in it here and there. But really, when you look through the platform itself, everyone is kind of in line with each other, which is great, because then the patient does move past the price and go, okay, well, now I'm actually going to do my search a little bit more and go and find the reputation, or do they have the payment plan that I want, or whatever it is. So
that's an excellent point to raise, Beck. Wonderful. I think that you're right. I think, we do have this fear the minute we charge over the lowest price in the area that we must be considered then one of the more expensive ones. But, when you turn in terms of getting your health managed outside of emergency trauma, dentistry is expensive. We need regular cleanings and checkups, and a crown's always going to cost around this, more than a pair of glasses do. So we have this perception that we are expensive, and we need to move on from that a little bit as a dental service, don't we? That we're providing patients the ability, and I get this from Sandy Roth. I don't know if you guys have ever come across that Sandy Roth in your time. She was an American communications guru for dental, but we're helping people look better, feel better, function better, and have greater peace of mind. And all the focus that we put onto, but how much are we going to be charging for this service? How much will people pay for it? We had to come from a different space. Stop going from just making everything as affordable as possible to provide those 4 aspects to your patients in the best way possible, and make sure that within your practice confines, price is a very secondary thing. It needs to be what it needs to be for the practice to be viable, for you to be able to continue to improve the service that you provide, but throw your focus on how you do things, and that's what's going to bring people in the door, especially when you've got opportunities like AirSmile, which gives you another avenue to get people coming through your door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I almost every week you sort of see these examples where cost is so relative for some people. You'll do, you do a full mouth rehabilitation, or you do, a big set of veneers, and it costs someone $10,000 or more. And they go, that's cheap. Oh my God, this is like the best money I've ever spent. Whereas you do it like a cleaning for someone, it costs them $100 or something, and they complain about the price. I think there's going to be people out there that always think it's expensive. I think as you said, Julie, we just need to get past it. What I love, this is my plug for AirSmile, what I love about AirSmile is if you have those costings up front, what we're hoping is that person going in isn't going to have that whinge to you, or you're not going to feel guilty because you're springing this surprise, on them as much, so it's all up front. So it takes away I feel that weight. I know my colleagues feel that weight all the time discussing finance. We're clinicians. We just want the best outcome for our patient. So AirSmile allows a little bit more comfort. That person's coming in and they kind of know what they're going to pay, or they know what they want, which is really cool.
That's what great customer service is. It's recognising what the expectations of your patients are coming in, so you can do that little bit better than what they're expecting. That's delivering great customer service. But we can't read their minds. And so providing them with as much information as possible, setting their expectations as much as we can, implanting them because we can't read their mind. So even if they think, it's going to, I need 4 crowns, it's probably going to cost me $20. they put it through this and they go, now I've adjusted my expectations. You are more likely going to be able to provide that person with supreme customer care because you have helped and contributed to the establishment of the expectations they should have coming into your practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a business perspective too, and you would do this, Julie, being a consultant and a coach, but it's all around building, how do we build that trust? And we see AirSmile as that first gateway to build that trust for practices. So, poured our hearts and soul into making sure that the platform is a credible and reliable and it presents well for patients, because we understand that if you're going to put your business, your blood, sweat and tears that you've built onto our platform, it has to also, that's the first step for people to come through. And so, that's what we've really enjoyed about it as well, is supporting the practices from the very beginning as that first touch point, right through to when they come and meet the practice. So,
is there a way that patients coming through AirSmile, when they book in, I imagine it's an AirSmile booking, yeah?
Yes. So at the moment, yes, there is. So they get an email notification to say that they've received an AirSmile booking, and then they would log into the AirSmile portal, like the dentist portal, and they would gather the patient's information from there and put them into their practice management system.
So you mentioned earlier, I think, Heath, about the records, that you get access to the patient records. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So patients have the options in their profile, in their secure account. They can upload records. Also, what's very good is within the platform, there is an electronic form where they can request records from a previous dentist. So it could be that they didn't like the dentist. It could be that they've moved, or just some kind of a circumstance change. So there's a very easy form in there. They can go in, they do a digital signature, they send it to their previous practice, and then that practice then sends those records to them, and that can all be uploaded straight into the profile of the patient. And so when the dental practice gets the booking, immediately that profile data is released to that practice for 24 hours or up until the end of the appointment day that they've booked in on. So the dentist can then get access to all of that, download that all. That is all the dentist's data. So they kind of pop it in, put it into their practice management system, ready for the patient to arrive, which is part of that. What you were alluding to earlier, Julie, is all about that control and setting expectations. If you have those x-rays, you have those photos, you have those clinical notes up front, you can have such better quality conversations with that patient when they, walk in the door before you even look in their mouth, and that's such a critical component to, my daily practice is having that upfront info.
So you guys are building up for the next few weeks to really do a big push for AirSmile, a good launch. And so you're looking for practices who are intrigued about opening up this new avenue, additional avenue for new patients to come through their practice. What would their next step be? What take me through the journey that they would need to go on to jump on board with AirSmile?
It's super easy, actually. We have a registration page where you just fill out a couple of your business details. And at the moment, because we are new and we want as many practices on board as possible, we're actually doing an introductory offer where there's no onboarding fee, there's no monthly fees. You literally pay when you get a new patient through your door, which is $79. So all the hard work that we do leading up to that, you fall under our marketing umbrella, and everything that we're doing, all the IT support, that's all there. And as I said, you just pay when you actually get some results, which is a new patient coming through.
So now is the time to sign up. This is the time. Fiscally, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. And that's what we hope too. We understand that we're a new experience for everybody. And so we do just want people to give us a go, and it's not a really great user experience if people jump on and there's no practices there. So, we're willing to sacrifice that. And, now is the time to try it. There's no locking contracts or anything like that. If you decide it's not for you, then you just let us know.
Nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
No, that's right.
And and everything to gain. One of those wonderful, it's a no-brainer, as they say. Now, you mentioned earlier, Beck, that you do some demos as well. So if people are interested but don't want to register just yet, you're happy to go through a demonstration of the product for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could just send us an email to hello@airsmile.com and request a demo. Have a chat with Heath or Beck. And we're happy to run anyone through a demonstration, show them how it works from a patient's perspective, and then how it works in practice as well.
Fantastic. The email address and contact details and website links are all in the show notes of this particular podcast. Well, I thank you guys so much. In my world as a dental practice consultant, I'm always looking online for the new stuff that's coming through, and there is so much great stuff coming on board. And what I've likened it to is I utilize a whole bunch of different applications for my business. And the moment I started to see these applications as staff members, wages that I need to pay these staff members, I embraced it, and all of these things helped me be more efficient and more productive. And I think the same is true for dental practices. Gone are the days where we're writing physically on cards for patient records. Now we've got dental software. Now we've got MyOb and Xero, and now we've got a whole bunch of other things that are out there that can help us be better than what we currently are as dental practices and achieve greater and greater success. And AirSmile is certainly one of those things. And so now's the time for people to join up. So do go to airsmile.com or contact Heath or Beck at hello@airsmile.com, because now is the time to open this additional avenue up for you to be attracting more patients through to your practice, and qualified patients. They're there, they know what they want, and they've got a certain series of expectations when they come through your door. So they're kind of easier to manage, these new patients, than a standard new patient coming through. So thank you guys so very much. I'd love to have you on board again. You're rolling this out throughout the whole of Australia. I'd love to have you guys on again in the future, so you can help your practices use this service in such a way that's going to really boost their results.
Absolutely. We'd love that. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks so much.
To say, thanks to everyone for listening. And we hope you can get on AirSmile. We've got almost 1,000 patients on there now, so we're all ready, trying to find a new dentist. So jump on.
Ready and waiting. Thank you so much.
Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, you should join the club. The club members receive an online lunch and learn every week where I share insights, systems and strategies to improve the success of your practice. These lunch and learns could not be easier. They are recordings, so you can watch them at a time that suit you. Members also have full access to the library of all of our past topics. The price is just $199 per month, and it is a powerful and effective way to upskill your team. I hope to see you there.